guys, my name's Marissa, also known as Homemaking with Marissa. I am going to be sharing 4 new recipes that only require 5 ingredients. I have multiple videos on my channel where I show how to make dinner with limited ingredients. I've shared holiday meals using limited ingredients and multiple 5 ingredient dinner videos. Today's video, as a bonus, is going to also include items that I frequently store in my prepper pantry. I have talked multiple times on my channel about having a prepper pantry on some of the items that I like to keep on hand. My most recent video was an updated prepper pantry tour, and I want to show how I utilize some of those items that I keep on hand to turn them into meals. If this is something that you're interested in, please go ahead and hit the red subscribe button and join my little YouTube community. 5 ingredients for tonight's dinner: mushrooms, broccoli, butter, Italian sausage, and 2 boxes of rice pilaf. I didn't mention at the beginning of this video, but all of these will be one-pan meals as well. I, as often as possible, like to prepare either sheet pan meals or something that can be made in one pot for easy cleanup later. I had purchased pre-sliced mushrooms, so the only vegetable prep that I had to do for this particular meal is just to cut the broccoli into florets. We are going to start by cooking our Italian sausage. This is 1 pound of Italian sausage. We're not going to brown it through completely. We're just going to start to render out some of the fat and cook the sausage. Now, when I was preparing this, I did not drain the grease off of the sausage, and it definitely would have been better if I had done that. So my recommendation would be to brown the sausage, again, not completely through, just start to brown it. And then once it looks like this, where it's starting to get a little bit of color but isn't completely cooked through, I would go ahead and drain the grease off of your sausage before adding the remaining vegetables. I'm just going to add in our broccoli and our mushrooms and allow them to start cooking down. Once your sausage, mushrooms, and broccoli are combined, you're going to just add 2 tablespoons of butter. I like to use grass-fed butter, but any butter will do. And then put in your 2 boxes of rice pilaf. The rice pilaf that I'm using comes with a seasoning packet, so I'm just adding that as well. I have a family of 5, including 3 boys, which my kids can eat an insane amount for dinner. So for us, 2 boxes of rice pilaf with the 1 pound of meat was more than enough to feed our family. The final thing I'm going to add is just 3 cups of water before I will put on the lid and allow this to cook on low for 25 minutes. The ingredients for tonight's 5 ingredient dinner: we have ground chicken. This is 1 pound of organic ground chicken that comes from our local butcher shop. You can buy this at your regular grocery store and get either ground whole chicken or just ground chicken breast. Shallot, which if you've never had shallot, I would say that it has a flavor combination if you were to mix onion and garlic together. That is what a shallot tastes like. Celery, this long grain and wild rice combo pack. This comes with seasoning in it as well. And then 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm trying to make a meal that's really quick and easy, I try to create a little bit of an assembly line. I'm starting again with my produce. I'm going to chop our shallot, which I mentioned that shallot tastes like onion and garlic combined. I find that when I cook with shallot, it's not something that my kids complain about, where when I put yellow or purple onion into food, sometimes it has a little bit too harsh of a flavor for them and they will try to pick it out of the meal. Once I've chopped our shallot, I'm just going to move on to cutting our celery into bite-sized pieces. This meal was inspired by a recipe that I saw in one of Joanna Gaines' magazines where she was making a chicken and wild rice soup. I have made that recipe before, but it's pretty involved and took quite a while start to finish. I wanted to come up with a way to incorporate those flavors, but in a fraction of the time, which is why I'm going to start by browning up some ground chicken, add in our shallot, our celery, and 2 tablespoons of butter. Once the chicken starts to brown and the vegetables start to soften, I will add our 2 boxes of wild rice and the seasoning packets that come with that, as well as 3 cups of water. And then, just like our last recipe, I am going to cover this dish and let it cook on low for 25 minutes. This particular dish was very good. It had all of the flavor components of a chicken and wild rice soup, but was done start to finish in about 30 minutes. Tonight for dinner, I am going to be making a barley and mixed vegetable soup with sausage. The 5 ingredients are pearl barley, 1 pack of onion soup mix, frozen mixed vegetables, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and 1 pound of ground pork. This is not a seasoned pork, though if you wanted to use spicy ground pork, Italian, mild, it's not imperative what type of sausage you use. I'm just using a plain pork sausage though. I am using frozen vegetables for this recipe, which means that there was no prep necessary. All I had to do was start by browning the sausage. We're not cooking it all the way through, but once it starts to render off some of that fat, I did drain it before adding it back to our pot. I then add 1 cup of pearl barley, and there is a little bit of residual grease that's still in the bottom of this pot, so I do stir it around a little bit and start to saute the barley for about a minute before I add in 2 cans of diced tomatoes. These are unseasoned diced tomatoes. They don't have any extra salt because I like to be in control of how much sodium is going into our food. Now I'm going to add 5 cups of water and 1 pack of onion soup mix. This is pretty salty, so this dish for my family's preferences is more than salty enough, but if you like your food to be saltier, then that's certainly something that you could add to taste at the end. Once our pot comes up to a boil, I'm just going to cover it and allow it to cook for 25 minutes. Anytime I have a package that doesn't have an option to reseal it, I try to repackage those items into mason jars. I have wide mouth mason jars that I use to store a number of different ingredients. I will just go ahead and put the remaining pearl barley onto my pantry shelf. After the soup has cooked for 25 minutes, we're going to add in our frozen vegetables. I am going to add a combination of carrots, peas, corn, and green beans. I'm adding half of this bag. I will add the lid back on and allow our dish to cook for an additional 20 minutes. Five ingredients in tonight's dinner: Spanish rice, bell pepper, ground beef, onion, and then we will top it with avocado. One of my children loves snacking on these mini bell peppers, which is why I always have them on hand. You could use a regular bell pepper though, if that's all that you have. I'm going to cut off the stems and then remove the seeds and chop them into bite-sized pieces. I will do this with our onion as well as our avocado. All of the recipes that I'm making in today's dishes are made with ground meat. This is something that we always keep in our deep freeze in the garage. Ground meat is something that is very affordable, and also I think that it spreads further. Our kids don't have to eat as much meat to feel like they're getting meat in their dish, if that makes sense. Oh, rather than giving them an entire chicken breast, I find that I can just saute up 1 pound of meat, and it's more than enough for my family of 5. I am going to saute our ground beef, our onion, our bell pepper, and then dump in our 2 packages of Spanish rice and 3 cups of water. I will cover this on low for 25 minutes or until your rice is cooked through. This was my kids' favorite dish of the 4. There was some of this left over, and my kids ate it for lunch the next day and enjoyed it as leftovers. I want to thank you all for watching today. If you're new and haven't done so already, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face right here. I have my entire list of 5 ingredient meals here, as well as my most recent prepper pantry tour down here. I hope you're all staying happy and healthy. Bye.